what the hell? If we're going to talk about movies, no matter what, we might as well.
Well, yeah.
So
sticking to Agatha first, though.
We were going to be doing Agatha, and we are going to be doing Agatha. But he said, I haven't even seen Beetlejuice yet, and I said that this is a movie with flaws and plot holes you could drive a dump truck through, and it's still entertaining. I will say this, and this is a spoiler, and it's out 2 weeks. I'm sure whoever's seen it has seen it. The whole Monica Bellucci thing, cut it out. It's the same movie. And there's also, I mean, there are so many plot lines and so many characters in this thing. You could actually cut out a couple of them.
That's what a lot of people have said, is that it didn't really have like an idea as to where the plot wanted to go. But
overall, it's a fun and entertaining, enjoyable movie. So yeah, I do.
I'm sure I will eventually enjoy it. It's just that I
have the flagging and check it out, and you and I will talk about it. That being said, what we are actually here to talk about is Agatha All Along, and I'm kind of pissed. I'm pissed at Gary and the Black Pills. I'm pissed at the black girl that plays one of the witches in this. I'm pissed at Aubrey Plaza because one, Gary and the Black Pills said this was going to be absolutely terrible, and it's worse than The Acolyte, blah, 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 blah. You know, same shit.
Not even worthy of being mentioned in the same sentence as The Acolyte, thank you.
And the thing is and then that the Black Witch and Aubrey Plaza. Now, Aubrey Plaza was being Aubrey Plaza. But the girl who plays the Black Witch said, this is the queerest Marvel show ever. And I'm sorry, but no, I was looking for that lesbian porn, dude. I did not see that lesbian porn. I'm very disappointed in this. What's going on?
I think this is yet another case of the usual suspects jumping the fucking gun.
It's like, come on. It's almost like they were. It's almost like they were poking the bear. Oh, I bet you we could get them riled up. And then of course they take the bait.
This show has its flaws, and it does. It does have its flaws. We'll get into that when we talk about spoilers. But genuinely, I have seen the first 2 episodes. I think the best summary of it is it has flaws, but it also has a ton of promise. And if they even remotely stick the landing on half of the promise that it was shown in those the 2-part pilot, then I will be a happy camper.
Here's
to be fair, I knew there was something more to this when they released the Witches Road clip from Comic-Con. As soon as I heard that song, I was like, well, either someone did some homework or someone put in more effort and thought than usually goes into these. So that's good.
Obviously, you know more about the Wiccan and witches thing. At first, yes, I want to talk about the crap that's surrounding this show. And okay, look, I'm going to call out bullshit where I see bullshit. I really am. And I actually believe sometimes this side of the culture war goes in hating, and they've got to find a reason to like it. Yeah, it's like I automatically hate this because it's new Marvel. Therefore, I'm not going to give it. It's got to prove to me, rather than just go in with an open mind, see how it is. And yeah, let's face it. I didn't watch The Acolyte because it was crap. I don't need to see more than 1 episode. Granted, I did. Probably would
it was worth skipping. Trust me.
We would get more views if we review every episode, of course. But why do I need to? If I watch 1 episode, I know it's crap. I'm not going to keep going. The bullshit surrounding it is bullshit. Cartoons, comics. Still don't know why they did that series. Because Agatha proved to be a very popular character from WandaVision. You fucking know that too. So don't lie about you don't know. That's why they did it.
She was
and not even one hot witch. Aubrey fucking Plaza is in that. So that wipes that right away.
She was the one saving grace that WandaVision ended up with.
You and I disagree on that.
After the 9th episode basically came in and shat all over everyone's dreams.
But that's the thing. It's like, oh well, because it's this, we automatically have to hate it. No, I'm sorry, but then you're not. Especially if you're on YouTube, you say you're a critic and you're talking about this kind of stuff. You're not being genuine. You're not being genuine if you don't give these things a fair shot.
Yeah, and by all means have standards. Like this is a way in which Eglinton and I are, I think, a little different. He strives to meet things where they live,
That's true. Yeah.
whereas my standard is I'm going to meet you halfway, so I will put in as much effort into liking you as you give me effort back.
Well, I think, of course,
that's our main
credit
difference.
that.
I think
I always credit that to me being the projectionist, and I know drink. That's something I always mention, but I credit that to me being the projectionist. I had to watch movies that I would never watch before. Therefore, I had to just keep my sanity. If you had to watch every goddamn Olsen twin movie that came out in the 90s,
you got a little bit punch drunk eventually.
You gotta realize that that's not going to be the same as, say, The Freshman or something with Matthew Broderick and big actor guy.
Right, and that's why I say that the difference between our standards, and I don't fault you for yours, although we disagree sometimes. Is my standards is I will meet you halfway to wherever you put in the effort. So if I can tell the movie is trying to, or the show is trying to put in effort, I will gladly meet them halfway.
No.
That's why I can like things like Multiverse of Madness and Black Adam, even despite of some of the flaws of those two movies.
Yeah. By the way, MK, no, this is not worse than Acolyte. We're about to start talking. We're just kind of setting up parameters.
While we're here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the show starts, and yes, I guess, fuck it, spoilers all the way. The show starts, and you see Agatha. She is in law enforcement. Now, my question is, I thought she was more housewife-ish in the neighborhood. Why did they? This gets explained later.
Yeah.
But while she's going through the whole motion of being a cop, she's actually acting weird. I thought, like, she's doing what people see on TV as, like, she's being a TV cop.
She's doing the Columbo thing, or the NCIS thing, or the Brooklyn Nine-Nine type thing.
There's actually a scene where she's talking normal, and then all of a sudden she has to turn into cop mode, and she's like, "Yeah, man," and she kind of gets all tough and everything, like, and it's flipped on a dime just like that. And I at that point I went, "Oh, okay," because all of a sudden it something clicked in my brain that it just was off a little bit. And we do see her. She ends up getting out of the spell, as you see in the thing.
The long and the short of it is, when Wanda air quotes died, and I use the air quotes because not a single one of her thinks she's actually dead. But after she air quotes died, her spell started to essentially decay, but it was strong enough, because Scarlet Witch, that it decayed without breaking. And so instead of staying within the purview of a classic sitcom, like Wanda insisted that she do, she kind of became a detective, because who's nosier than a detective, essentially, I think is the logic.
Exactly, yeah. Well, they do get a murder, and she's investigating the murder. And of course, we hear that the victim was crushed under something really heavy. And so,
reference to Wanda.
Exactly. Well, I was going to get to that, because at one point in time, she goes into the morgue, and she's having a hard time. Like, at one point, the body's there. The next, it's not. And she goes, okay, the victim, and she describes the victim. And she goes over and she looks at the name and says Wanda Maximoff, and that goes, wait a second. And we meet Aubrey Plaza earlier, but it's just a hello, how you doing? I hate you kind of thing. And she shows up again, and she says, well, we have a victim and two names. We need another. And she looks, and it says A. Harkness. And she goes through all of the personalities and such that she used in the TV show.
It's essentially as though the spell worked in layers, and this detective persona is Agatha's way of trying to get out of Wanda's spell now that it's decaying.
And we see her. She removes clothing to free herself. And she discovers who she is. Her and Aubrey Plaza's character has a back and forth. We don't know who Aubrey Plaza is yet. Got suspicions.
They have some personal vengeance things, though, so there's that. She's probably going to wind up being the antagonist to Agatha. And I say antagonist and not villain because they don't shy away from Agatha's villainy here.
Right.
That was one of my biggest concerns, what they were going to try to do with Agatha, what they tried to do with Maleficent in the Angelina Jolie one.
She's a hero now.
Yeah, give her the wicked treatment, and so far it doesn't seem like they're doing that. They're keeping Agatha being this kind of difficult to get along with, spiteful witch who likes to take advantage of people, and the show actually does a good job at making that almost the focus, because spoilers, when Agatha finally works her way out of the spell, she realizes that when Wanda was taking her own power back from Agatha, she took all of Agatha's magic too. So now Agatha's running on empty.
Okay, so I want to talk about this part because she does strip to free herself. She strips of all of her different identities, so she's naked. She is Agatha. And she's like, wait a second, what the hell happened? What's going on? She goes outside of her house. This is also something I have to bring up because of what's going on. I saw Gary do a whole thing. Gary's huge. You know, we all know he's got a huge following.
He will be fine for the foreseeable future.
Okay, so let me bring this up. And he says, I can't believe they in a Marvel movie they have a naked lady on the street and there's a kid looking at her. Are we really, in order to own the woke and all that kind of stuff, are we going to become the pearl clutchers? Seriously, is that the end game here? That's
always been my biggest concern. That was always my biggest criticism.
Hold on. When I was a kid, they put out a movie called Something Wicked This Way Comes. Scared
that movie.
Fucking shit out of
us.
Love
that movie.
They didn't hold back on the horror.
And the book is great too.
Movie. And now, and Gary's my age. He's actually a year older. Gary's my age. He's seen this movie. He knows this movie. And now you're going to become a fucking pearl clutcher? Oh my God, that little girl, hold on, I'm not done. This is a rant. That little girl wasn't looking at a damn naked woman in the street. She was looking at a film crew making the same joke we've seen over and over again, whether it be like an Animal House. Thank you, God, as the woman falls into the bed. Or here, it's been done so many times, but this is the hill you're dying on. Sorry.
And isn't one of their biggest criticisms of modern content that they don't ever push boundaries or ever be risky?
Exactly. I mean, and that's Marvel. Okay, this is the same kind of thing that back when Disney first started. What was it? Not TriStar. Their new movie had like, oh goodness gracious, I can't think of the title. I could see
Searchlight.
Touchstone. When they started Touchstone, they had Splash, and man, all the mama hens came rushing out to complain about Daryl Hannah's naked ass. It's not Disney, and it's the same here. This isn't Disney. It's Marvel. Seriously. I mean, if you look, I liked the show. I did. But there's plenty of real stuff to complain about here. Okay, you don't have to make shit up. Anyway, go on ahead. Say what you need.
Except when their bottom line relies on it. But in any case, so Agatha is essentially powerless, and in order to regain her power, she needs to walk this thing called the Witch's Road, which is a thing already in the canon of Marvel Comics. It's essentially like a nexus point for magic users, and if you make it to the end of it, it essentially the road itself will test you, and if you make it to the end of the test and prove your worthiness, you will essentially be given what you're missing, your heart's desire, your fondest wish, all the power you can dream of, and so on. And in order to walk the Witch's Road, you have to walk it as a group, as a coven. Which leads into Agatha going around and searching for the rest of the cast of the show, more or less.
And that's when they get together and have the gay orgy that you've been hearing about.
Well,
oh wait, no,
they
no,
haven't
no,
gotten that far yet. But
yeah,
we
actually,
can but hope in the ensuing episodes. We're only on episode 2 here.
Hey, they even bring in the mom from that '70s show, so let's get it on.
Yeah, but so now, mind you, my first thought when I saw this part, the going and collecting all the witches part, was this probably should require more globe-trotting than it actually does. These people are all very strangely geographically convenient.
You got to think of budget plus time.
Well, yes, but there's also a in-universe explainer for this, and this is something I appreciated about the show, because that was my main criticism, basically, of these 2 episodes, and the show kind of checked me on it, because Agatha straight up says, all I basically need are warm bodies, and anyone with enough witch talent will do. You just have to just barely be witchy enough, so I'll take whatever B or C list characters that I can get. And one of them actually calls her out on this, of like, what witch in their right mind would work for Agatha Harkness, who's famous for draining people dry of their power. And Agatha retorts,
I gotta say, I like that part where she goes, "You have to fire at me for me to."
Yeah, and then Agatha goes, "I'm not interested in right-minded witches as it happens. I'm interested in whoever I can beg, borrow, or steal." So even though
you bring up a point, and I'm wondering. So I mentioned the mother from '70s shows in there. If you guys watch WandaVision, she's also the neighbor. She comes over during the Dick Van Dyke episode, and they're the ones that have the problem. She turns and, stop it, stop it, stop it. And she actually gets brought along. So I'm wondering, is she low-level magic? Like maybe she's somebody or something that she doesn't know she is. And Agatha
she said, according to what she said in the scene where Agatha's missing a member and it's just like, I'll grab whoever I can beg, borrow, and steal. She says something about
cartoons. You gave us the same comment 5 times. First of all, I'm of age. I actually think that Agnes is pretty damn hot. Also, once again, Aubrey Plaza, dude. You're fighting a losing battle in this comment section.
Well, and more to the point, back on what you were asking, the mother from the '70s show does say she has a green thumb, so that might imply some sort of natural affinity to herbalism and that sort of aspect of it, which is, funnily enough, exactly what they needed. Because apparently, according to the lore of the Witch's Road, you have to have essentially a representative of all the different kinds of magic, because every test tests for something different. And what they were missing was a green witch, an herbal, like, Earth nature witch. So,
which was Aubrey Plaza's character, the one that they were supposed to get, like the one that was on the name? I didn't see all 4 names.
That's the assumption I'm going with, because when they go see the first witch, who is like an oracle or a psychic, she gives Agatha a list of names, and they only go to 3 of them. And when the character who totally isn't Billy, who totally isn't Wiccan in waiting, it says, "Wait, we have one more name to go," and Agatha straight up eats the paper because she doesn't want to deal with it.
Right. So I got to tell you, that's the basic plot from first episode to the end of. They end up on the road as we're seeing leaving. They get the neighbor and all that kind of stuff. We do see a coven of witches trying to chase after them, but they managed to get onto the road before.
And they specifically reference them as the Salem 7.
Right. So these are the women that Agatha cheated all those centuries ago. Yeah.
And by the way, this is a thing in the comics as well, because the fact that Agatha lived way back in the Salem witch trial days is canon in the comics as well, and her coven was originally referred to as the Salem 7. So that's a nice touch as far as geekery goes.
Right. So what did you think? Seriously.
I thought, like I said, I think it has its problems, but it also has a lot of promise, and I'm really interested to see where it goes from here, because I get the sense that they actually want to dive into the witchy aspect, and one, that's good just on general principle for an Agatha show. Two, it's amazing freaking timing, and thank God somebody got the right idea to put it like at the beginning of Halloween season. And I believe the last episode actually is scheduled to air on Halloween, so good on you, show, for being thematically appropriate and shit.
I would like to see it go darker, in all honesty. I think it's got a great comedy element, but I don't want to see, like every other Marvel movie, the comedy element roll right over everything that's important. Like Man-Thing, not Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night. Let it sit as a horror movie or horror special.
And whatever joke there was almost in the stylization of the thing itself. Like,
and I would like this. I would like to see this here as well. I thought that Catherine Hahn as Agatha, she did fine. Once again, there's an entire opening thing where she's a cop, where I'm telling you, she ain't playing a cop. She's playing somebody who's watched cops on TV, and this is the way TV cops are supposed to act. At one point in time, she's interrogating somebody, and she goes, "Waiver, well, I'll go on," and it's something.
She's doing a bit.
It's just I like that part. Throw in Aubrey Plaza on almost anything, I'm okay with that. I enjoyed watching each witch being brought in individually, but when you put them back to back, it's very episodic. Even in an episode, it's like say witch denies or refuses to go. Here's a reason.
And then Agatha pulls out.
We're gonna go. And then you go to the next witch, talk. They refuse. They give a reason for them not to refuse, and then they go. And we see that multiple times, and it's like, okay, now you need to move along. So during that recruitment, any one is actually interesting, but put them back.
I think it was just we have an entire cast and coven to set up, so we got to kind of speed run it a little bit here.
So I'm enjoying the show. I am. I'm trying to find that really bad acolyte writing that I was told I was going to get. It's not.
No.
I think you're getting a lot of bitter people who, one, haven't seen the show, or two, are watching it with bad intentions. I mean, if you watch a show and all you could say is there's older people in it, cartoons and comics, you're not watching the show. You're not giving it a fair shake, and you know it. You decided even before you started that you were going to hate this show. So that's you got to go in with an open mind. Okay, fine. You find flaws, I get it. But no, I'm not buying into that. And I'm hearing a lot of horseshit that is not in the show. Now, will there be some sort of lesbianism in the future episodes? Okay, but nothing should be judged on what it's about more than it should be judged on how it's about it.
How do you stick the landing? Do you actually make something of this, or do you make it disgusting pandering like Velma and the Acolyte and the Marvels and everything else?
See, that's the whole thing. Velma, I gave it its episode. Didn't work. Sucked horrible. Why would I watch the rest? Acolyte, gave it its episode. Wasn't good. Not at all. Some part of me wants to go back without all the hype around it and check it out, because I see that a lot as well. It's kind of like the TikTokers who are voting for Kamala Harris. They don't give a fuck about Kamala Harris. They're bandwagoning. They care it's on TikTok. It's the same thing. Right now, everybody's bandwagoning, as you say. Yeah, okay, take a little time. Once it gets passed, let's watch it without all the hype one way or the other, and see if it's actually any good. Because overall, it's like I said a long time ago, people were using this whole thing. Oh, you're an NPC. You're an NPC. I'm sorry, but after the third time somebody said it, anybody repeating it
becomes an NPC piece of dialogue.
And that's what we're hearing. Now, is this a great show? Is it a perfect show? Not so far.
No. But like I say, despite its flaws, I think it genuinely has promise. And if it manages to live up to the promise that I think it has, then I will be here defending it. If it eventually screws me over and makes my investment not work, like the 9th episode of WandaVision did, then I will judge it accordingly. But
you and I are so on different pages as
WandaVision. But based on the 2 episodes that I have now, and the Ballad of the Witch's Road that was revealed at Comic-Con, or was it D23? I don't remember. But based on that, that tells me that either A, someone did their homework, either Marvel-wise or actual history of witchcraft-wise, or someone is at least putting in effort so as to make you think they put in homework.
Yeah. So
and in either case, I'm willing to give back the exact amount of effort I'm given.
My wife watched this with me, and she enjoyed it. She thought it was fine. She thought it was a fun show. I
perfect for Halloween as well, which is nice.
Yeah, it's got that vibe.
Not quite as good as Werewolf by Night yet, but it also has 9 more episodes.
Werewolf by Night Werewolf by Night is one of the best things in the MCU, hands down.
Period. I'm right up there with you.
I am A-OK saying that. I am not embarrassed by saying that. It is one of the best things in the MCU. This, however, so far is not. I think this will, so far on the 2 episodes, it would fall somewhere in the middle. I don't know if it would be high middle or low middle, but it's in that section, you know.
Here's where I'm sticking at it at the moment. I think it's better than Moon Knight was. I think it's better than either season of Loki. I don't think it's quite as good or as heavy on the atmosphere as Multiverse of Madness or Werewolf by Night. That's where I'm sticking it. Like you say, right in the middle. Better than Moon Knight and Loki. Worse than, or not quite as good as yet as Multiverse of Madness or Werewolf by Night.
So
if the show gets better over time, I have no problem. If it ends up becoming as good as those things, I would be very grateful if it was as good as those things. But so far, it's better than Moon Knight. It's better than Loki. Not as good as Multiverse of Madness.
So Tevia, by the way, just jumped in and he says, "Who cares if it doesn't have lesbians?" Dude, you know me. You know me for a long time. That title is absolutely sarcasm, by the way. I'm not being serious. I wasn't actually, but the reason why I put the title as it is because all I've ever heard about this show is that 1, it's written worse than The Acolyte, and 2, it's got a lot of lesbianism in it, and neither one is true. So that's why I made the title. Yeah.
Another thing I've seen them trying to do is make this the next She-Hulk, and this, just based on these 2 episodes here, is worlds better than She-Hulk ever was, honestly.
Well, I like what Cartoons and Comics saying here. He says She-Hulk still crap 2 years later. Really? 2 years ago? Wow, time is flying. But I haven't rewatched She-Hulk. I kind of want to, like I said, outside of all the hype. But She-Hulk was an extra special kind of bad.
Yeah. She-Hulk and The Acolyte will go down in history for being iconically bad, right along with Velma.
Well, right away, She-Hulk is bad because they disrespected not just the character of Bruce Banner and the Hulk, but She-Hulk herself.
Yeah, they didn't deliver on the character as people actually enjoy her. They delivered on feminist strawman 101 type A middle-aged woman.
She's a strong woman. She is a strong woman, therefore she doesn't need weak men. That's one thing. Another is that they thought she was female Deadpool, and they tried to go out for that broad comedy, but and they tried to do Dan Slott's story with the sensational She-Hulk's kind of craziness to it, and it didn't work. And ultimately, and this is the ultimate, and this is why you see like people saying, well, you liked it with Deadpool, but you hate it with She-Hulk. Why? Must be because
it was done well.
No, it's because of this. Deadpool makes fun of the Marvel Universe, fine. But Deadpool respects the genre, respects the characters, respects the fans. She-Hulk was actually, they admitted to it, She-Hulk was meant to be an insult to the fans. There was no respect. And and that's why that failed. That's why that is absolutely a 100% failure. Well, no. Second episode was actually pretty good, but it is mostly a failure because they didn't respect the fans. understand this, because is this the way, you know? And look, okay, that title also came from the fact that one of the Black Witch said, the woman who plays Black Witch said, "This is the gayest Marvel universe ever." I don't know. That's the voice I heard when she said it. I don't think she actually.
Yeah, my gaydar didn't go off, so I don't know what she's on about here.
And you've actually got a gaydar. I do not. I have actually met one of the gayest guys I know. I was like, "Wow, you're gay?" It was like, yeah. So anywho,
I didn't see any overt feminism or social justicizing either. Like, if there is any there, it's stuff that makes sense in the universe and doesn't turn the characters into straw men. Now, could they go too deep into that route and then I would start complaining about it? Sure. But in the 2 episodes that I was given, in the 2-part pilot, they don't go Gurma feminism. They don't go Gurma social justice. No. They don't go Gurma oppression. The worst they do is reference the witch trials, because of course a show focused on witches and witchcraft are going to mention witch trials at some point.
So yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, and the way when she brings that up and when they talk about this kind of thing, you do think it's going to be the Acolyte thing where they're trying the old way, where they are advertising the show as it's going to be a DEI, it's going to be all this kind of stuff, and that's the old way. I do see a lot of people pulling back from that. I see, and by that I mean a lot of studios, when they're putting in a movie, it's like
they're finally learning the lesson, maybe.
Yeah. So I'm wondering why they would even have this, where somebody says that. I love the Aubrey Plaza response. Somebody asked her, "Well, we heard this is the gayest Marvel Universe MCU show ever," and she goes, "I hope so. It's what I signed up for." That is the perfect Aubrey Plaza answer, in my opinion, because
it's making fun of the people who care as much as it is.
Yeah, if you ever see her in interviews, she is always being sarcastic, and the way she said that was sarcastic. Yeah, like if you had said, if the interviewer would have said, "Yeah, I watched this and this was a real hunk of shit. Did you know it was going to be that?" She would go, "Yeah." You know, that it's the same thing.
I signed on for a train wreck. It's a train wreck. Yeah.
Let's see, which Acolyte failed badly, really badly. Once again, 1 episode. I don't know about the rest. She was so bad, made screw in my head. Yeah. You watched more than one?
I watched the entire show, and being as I am both a nerd who focuses on magic stuff and someone who actually is a practitioner in real life, I will tell you this. I have never been so insulted by any witch characters in my freaking life, and that includes overtly shitty things like charm, than I was by the Cult of the Thread, or what Ahsoka did to the Night Sisters in her show.
Right.
This, however, like I say, they released the Ballad of the Witch's Road, or at least part of it, in the D23 presentation. And ever since I heard that song, I was at least willing to hear this show out, because that song demonstrates that someone somewhere did research, whether it be with regards to Marvel Comics or whether it be with regards to just general witch history stuff. I don't know. But someone did their homework or put in a much greater piece of effort.
When does this air, by the way? When does this air? Like, is it going to be every Sunday?
Every Wednesday, I think.
We have to do an after party. I mean, obviously, you're the guy to do it. You follow the magic users in comics and everything, so you know the background lore. But I've got to ask you. Okay, I pointed out Aubrey Plaza. Satanus, or is it Blackheart? Because they mentioned Blackheart a couple of times.
I think they're leaning it towards Blackheart because they mention it once when she's in the room.
And she actually says, "I do have a heart. It's black."
And when she said that, I was like, "For you."
Because my first thinking, my first thought was it was Satanus.
Yeah, I don't think so, because when the divination and future sight witch gives them a list of people to go see, she mentions What do you mean? I put the black heart on the bottom there, and Agatha tries to play it cool and be like, "That's just because you had a black pin. Don't make anything out of that." Which is the very obvious "I know when I'm hiding things" thing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
okay, you can jump on if you want to. He did not like the show, so I don't know. But yeah, I was wondering if it was going to be Satanist, and then when she said I have a black heart, and they mentioned it again, I was like, really?
Yeah,
she's playing Blackheart of all people.
Yep.
And then I thought,
once is a coincidence, twice is a massive coincidence, 3 times is intentional. I think is the rule.
I wonder if she's Blackheart, then are we actually going to get that Mephisto appearance that everybody thought was going to happen in WandaVision?
Or at least an appearance of the Rider, maybe the Ghost Rider.
That would actually be very interesting.
Because that is something I would like to see. I'm also fine if it sticks within the purview of just witchcraft without bringing in the other mystical stuff. But I would like to see, like, Werewolf by Night, especially because we haven't seen Jack Russell since his special.
I know,
or Man-Thing, or Elsa. So it would be nice to see them. It would be nice to set up Blade, because they're still going ahead with the Blade movie, for fuck's sake. So, I'm synergy.
Surprised. I'm actually surprised they didn't keep up. I mean, after Werewolf by Night, why didn't we get a Man-Thing or a Tomb of Dracula or something? They should have just
something
kept
along
this
those
shit
lines.
going. It is opportunity lost. I
mean, we've already seen Benedict Wong being willing to slum it in She-Hulk, so he could easily show up here, if not Benedict Cumberbatch. So, like, they could very easily do all this. Now, I don't think they're intending to, so anything we get will just be icing on the cake, so to speak. But based solely on the sort of witchy corner of things.
So, what do you think about this fan theory? Ethereal Dragon, Kitty Foreman is the Blackheart, not Aubrey Plaza, but Kitty Foreman. Now, my first thought was actually that Blackheart or Aubrey Plaza was actually disguised as Kitty Foreman. And that's and so Agatha doesn't know that she brought her along with her.
Well, we could honestly, it could work both ways. No matter which way they slice it, I could see a situation where that works. I am trying to, like I say, meet the show halfway and not like overly force it or anything. But again, I am the magic guy vis-a-vis comics and general fiction, and I'm also a practitioner in real life. So I would like to see some kind of actual representation like that's supposed to mean, and not DEI style representation. I.e., if you're making a show about witchcraft, you probably should at least do some homework on the topic of witchcraft, be it in the Marvel Universe or in general. I would like to see a decent blend of both, personally me, because that would serve, my geek credentials and my magician credentials at the same time, which would get it high praise. But one or the other is also fine. They just have to pick one if they aren't content on giving me both.
So one Ethereal Dragon's bringing in. He's bringing up Wiccan, the kid.
Wicca is a pretentious 21st century attempt by Gerald Gardner to make a fertility cult, and it's occasionally referred to as modern witchcraft, but it kind of isn't.
I thought, no, I think he's talking about the boy.
Oh,
every time he says his name, it goes silent. Or
me and everybody else on the freaking planet thinks that's probably Billy as a teenager.
Yeah. The question would be, how did he survive? I mean,
how did he make it to this universe?
Yeah. Because, and then he's the gay guy, Wiccan and Hulkling. Okay, that explains a lot, because he has a very effeminate young man.
No, he is supposed to be gay.
Okay.
He doesn't bother me though, which I like. And they don't turn him into Agatha's purse puppy. Agatha calls her that calls him that a couple of times,
but that's just my familiar. Yeah.
That's just Agatha being Agatha and being a little bit catty about things.
Oh my gosh. So hold on. LK is saying that Disney did give it away. If you look on subtitles, I guess it's when he's silent and he's answering.
Yeah,
was it actually showing subtitles that who he is?
Yeah, but the thing is, and this is why this doesn't bother me, because they didn't turn him into a weak man for the sake of making everybody else look powerful. Because the very first conversation Agatha has with him after the spell is undone is, you must have some serious talent to be able to undermine a spell cast by the Scarlet Witch, whether it's decayed or not. Yeah. And what he says, and this is the moment when he became kind of my favorite character in the whole show, I have knowledge, what I don't have is raw power. So I need that. Which is the base answer to that question. Because she asked him, what do you need the road for if you have the knowledge to undo a chaos magic hex? And he says, knowledge I have, and books can only take you so far. I need more juice. I need actual power.
Yeah, the other two, the black girl and the Asian girl, were not given any time to develop. They just said, here they are, come on in.
We will get to them later, essentially.
Which I guess LK is saying the black girl is actually a race swap. Hey, boy, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah? Oh, good boy, good boy. He's a good boy.
As long as they don't, make it part of the writing, I don't particularly give a fuck.
Yeah.
As long as they don't pull the intersectionality card, I'm fine. Like, having the diverse cast for the sake of this, obviously it was some box checking, but as long as it doesn't metastasize into the writing, I don't care. Like, if you treat that character like every other character, it's fine, as long as you don't pull the intersectionality card. And it doesn't seem like they're pulling the intersectionality card just yet. I could be wrong. That there are 8 other episodes to deal with, but so far I am cautiously optimistic. I'm willing to let it play out.
Yeah. Once again, like I said, so far so no. Okay, nope, can't do that. All right. He's still a baby and he's still rambunctious and doing all the bad things. Come on. All righty. Say hello. There you are. It's my boy.
Hello, little pistachio.
By the way, I spoil this one so freaking bad. I am so afraid of him getting hurt or do anything. The last one died on my watch, and so
it's like when you get a second child after your firstborn, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do everything right with this one.
No. Actually, it goes the other way. You spend, when you have one child, the first child, you're doting. You're like, oh my gosh, because you're afraid you're gonna break it. And then when the second child
because I haven't parented
it's more
yet,
like, she can raise herself. Isn't that right, Elizabeth?
Oh, that's right. It's typically the third child where it bounces back again and it's like, oh, I need to dote over this one because it's the last baby I have or something.
Yeah. So overall, once again, like I said, it's not as bad as everybody's saying. I don't think it's as bad as LK is saying. LK is let me read his and by little I mean it's only a paragraph. This show is insulting to everyone. This is what it isn't. This is what they think women want to watch. Do they? Is this like
I did I watch chick flick movies, being as I am gay, and I didn't catch any chick flick nonsense here.
I'm interested in the constructed bit, but actually I'm interested in your take because I agree with this. Earlier, I mentioned how there's in the middle, there's a space where it repeats itself like 3 times. So that part I do agree with. Directed, the direction is there. It's competent, but not remarkable. Or it's not like Barry Sonnenfeld where you look and go, oh, that's this guy's movie. As far as tension, I thought it worked at the end when you saw when they were being invaded by the 7. What were they called? The 7 sisters.
The Salem 7.
It's
Agatha's original coven in the comics. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't know what it's going to be here because obviously in this version she killed all of her coven mates by draining them dry. So
Rhaegar, the takes are pretty much that both of us, but we're in agreement on this one. Usually one of us likes something a little bit more than the other one. Yeah, Dalton's always the sourpuss between the two of us. And well, as a matter of fact, do you realize if we do let LK come on and be the third, you would be the neutral guy?
It's a strange time to be around, I guess. Which honestly, that even in and of itself is a compliment for this show. Because like I said, I am probably as close to this show's target audience as you could possibly get, being as I am a fan of specifically magical characters in the comics, and I am also an actual practitioner who like obsessively absorbs as many grimoires and books of history and this stuff as I can. And I'm not calling any bullshit or raising any red flags yet. So that in and of itself probably should be seen as a kind of endorsement. If I can watch this and not find anything to complain about except for maybe one little bit of writing issue, which then the show goes on to correct, that's probably a good sign.
Yeah. Look, it's not the perfect show. It isn't.
No, it has its flaws.
And but as of now, it's entertaining and it's watchable. That's not exactly. I'm not over the moon about it. I had fun with it. Gail had fun with it. But we'll see. We'll see which way it goes. Because
most of its problems came from this is a pilot and we have a whole cast to set up. So speed run the character introductions.
Now earlier we were talking about Disney shows on the whole, and She-Hulk was brought up and it was kind of used as the worst. She-Hulk is not the worst of the Disney shows, in my opinion. Obviously, everybody has their own, and I've got the right one.
It's pretty close, but
What If is the worst. Season 1, haven't seen season 2 because season 1 was the worst. I haven't made the leap into season 2.
I disagree with you because season 1 of What If at least had the 2 good episodes, the Doctor Strange one and then the finale one.
That's one episode more than She-Hulk had. Film Threat Review isn't going to be positive. They're one of those channels. They probably went in not liking it before they saw it. I've watched enough Film Threat to go, yeah, I've seen their review. Not just of this, but I've seen their review. You could take all of their reviews or any one of their reviews, slap it down and do the whole today we're going to review Star Wars and today we're going to review She-Hulk, and it's going to be the same thing said no matter what. So you could just put in the title.
And again, normally I'm the overly harsh one because I only meet things in the middle, whereas England he meets them all the way at where they're at. I especially have high standards whenever anything involves magic. It's one of the reasons the Acolyte and Ahsoka show were so insufferable. But this put in the effort that those shows did not. And thus I am going to meet it halfway and see how far they manage to get with me meeting them halfway.
Yeah. Let's see. Cautiously optimistic. I did invite LK to put his 2 cents in. I don't mind a third opinion. All right, LK.
I mean, given this show, it is interesting to have the power of 3. Lol.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey there.
Hey.
Yeah. I mean,
my goal, by the way, is to make a video longer than both episodes.
I think we may already have succeeded.
So you watch both episodes, not just the first
Yeah. I've watched both of them.
Okay. I just honestly, obviously, yeah, it's not for me. I may watch the third. It's more or less the fact that since I have a lot of time on my hands right now, it's kind of like, it's a half hour or whatever. I do wish that someday there will be an MCU show that's made for, a male audience once again. But
I don't care.
I mean,
go on ahead, say your piece. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, this show's just mediocre at best. I mean, they went, they started out the whole thing with the same trope or plot, whatever you want to call it, they used for WandaVision, and it worked for WandaVision because people are more familiar with sitcoms. It was something different, something unexpected. So here you're going back to the same well, and the problem is it's kind of like, okay, we've already seen this. There's nothing special.
Well, she was under the same spell in WandaVision. I'm not sure what you would have had them do instead of this.
There's a bunch of things. You didn't have to try and do a lame True Detective remake, which people are only going to know if they've actually watched True
Believe
Detective.
me, there are plenty of
detective show.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There
of
are plenty of detective shows on basic cable, and they are insufferably common. So I don't think it's just True Detective they were pulling from.
They're common, but this is a specific, particular type of detective show that they were trying to parrot.
Okay, so
which they only did in the first episode because that was how Agatha got left in one.
I got a question for you, for both of you, because Gail is my proof. But do you think? Because I don't think that you need to have watched WandaVision in order to get this. And my proof is my wife, who I think she may have seen a couple episodes of WandaVision, but I guarantee you she remembers none of it. Am I right, hun? Well, she's nodding, but yes.
And I am the sort of person, because Jose Simmons is saying he didn't like WandaVision. I only liked one episode of WandaVision. That was episode 8, where Agatha takes Wanda to witch school and then pulls the Ghost of Christmas Past card. It was in retrospect, that is the only good episode of WandaVision as far as I'm concerned. But that's a good goddamn reason to give Agatha her own spinoff, because she turns out to be, after episode 9 is said and done, the only interesting or good part of WandaVision.
I disagree, but okay. Look, I liked WandaVision. I do understand why people didn't like the ending. I don't understand how you could see a good show and then go, that last episode wasn't great, therefore the entire show was bad, but that's
because most of what was good about the rest of it was the mysteries and plot threads they were setting up with the thing never paid off.
Well, Gail is very much one of those people. If you don't stick the landing, doesn't matter how good the show or the movie is. If you don't stick the landing,
It's one of the reasons I dislike M. Night Shyamalan, because very often the twist he has in mind is the only gimmick.
Yeah, like the premise is so much better than the twist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Didn't like most of the episodes. Cartoons, comics, and What If is worse than the season 2 is worse than She-Hulk. Yeah. Okay. So I know I'm a little bit off topic on this one. Do you have anything more to say about the show you want to add to it?
Well, I mean, again, obviously, I'm basically in the complete opposite end. It sounds like to Dalton. I mean, Catherine Hahn, she started out fine, but the longer that she continued in the show, the more grating she got on me, becoming an annoying character. The rest of it, as I say, I think it was poorly directed. I think it was poorly written.
Well, how do you think it was poorly directed? Like, do you have and sorry to put you on the spot, but
honestly, right now, I watched the second episode a few hours ago, and it's already almost kind of leaving my head. It just, it was just the static shots. As I say, nothing. There was zero tension as far as I'm concerned. Nothing built to an interesting tension. I mean, the 7 sisters or witches, or
the Salem Seven,
or whatever, showing up. Okay, big deal. I mean, it was, it was just, I don't necessarily know how to explain it. Just there was nothing. There was nothing there. And
did you feel that this was all setup and no present?
I mean, there was certainly a lot of setup. I mean, the first episode is basically nothing but setup for what you get.
It's a pilot, though.
Into the episode.
Yeah, well, no. The thing is look at a show like Lost. Lost was a great first episode that set up the next one, and that's something a great pilot does. Unfortunately, and you even see this in comic books, modern day comics, and a lot of movies, where we saw instead of doing the little clip at the end like Marvel used to do, like Batman and Superman, there was a whole bunch of, oh, this will be in the future, and they did it at the detriment of what we were watching right now. I did feel that a little bit, like they introduced the Aubrey Blackheart is what we're thinking, and she went away, never came back, and then all of a sudden they introduced the Salem 7 with no introduction, so we have no idea who is attacking them. We just know something is attacking. We just don't know the motivations. Therefore, we can assume that we're going to be watching and finding out those motivations later. So there's a lot of later in detriment to the now. And so for that, I could see what LK is saying. However, we may actually get better later. We may actually get more of the woke stuff we're afraid of.
See, therein lies the problem. This is where you have dumb people writing this that think they're clever, because again, and especially as you're talking about that, I can see the show falling into the same trap that Acolyte did in terms of thinking that they're going to be smart by doing some kind of flashback to show us, oh, this is why, you know, the Seven Salem are angry at Agatha, and it's going to make like,
well, they showed that in
completely break the show.
In the
that's what they should show now, to build up the tension, to explain it.
Yeah.
Real quick, you wanted an example of what I thought was bad direction.
Okay, yeah.
All of the scenes in the second episode where you can call this either bad direction, bad production, whatever you want, but I thought the music cues were so bad in the second episode, in terms of, you know, we would get the scenes where Billy and Agatha are together doing something mundane, and then she looks over and here's the raven, or sees the rat, and then you get this sudden dun dun dun. And it's kind of like, okay, you've overkilled the scene. You've destroyed all of the tension and interest in the scene.
I think they were just trying to be campy.
Look over to the rat, and then we see her scared face. It'd be like, oh, okay.
If they gave us a connection, by the way, like if they showed the character the rat and the crow was representing, we can assume, because if you know anything about black magic and all that kind of stuff, that they are connected to somebody evil. But they should have shown us of whom they were connected to, because otherwise it's just bum 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 crow. And so I like I said, this show does have flaws. I was entertained by it. But I'm not over the moon. This is right now we are dead in the middle for me. I don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I can recommend it. Don't know if I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's entertainment. While it was on, I was enjoying it.
So far, I'm cautiously optimistic, and what I've seen in these 2 episodes suggests to me that this show will be better than Moon Knight, and it will be better than both seasons of Loki, but that it won't be as good as Multiverse of Madness or Werewolf by Night. That's my summarized thoughts on it. I think it fits right in the middle there.
Moon Knight was a middle of the road show for me. And what grabbed me though was that first episode. I love that first episode. I thought that was just badass all the way through. And there was nothing after that showed the same promise. And it was,
well, you talked about before. I mean, again, Moon Knight's another show where you didn't stick the landing, and it essentially just makes the rest of the entire show.
No. It wasn't the landing they didn't stick. They didn't stick the second episode. It was very much Rise.
Yeah,
it wrote a check it couldn't cash.
It slowly started, and then it just completely crumbled with the last two episodes.
The first episode was good. The second episode was a disappointment, and they never left the yellow line in the road. They stayed right in the middle all the way through for Moon Knight. Just to go through it, WandaVision, awesome, loved it. Falcon and the Snowman, did not like it at all, especially in the ending when I can't tell you how, but the what if shit. What was next? Loki, it was all right. It was good. I could say Loki was good. Ms. Marvel I liked. Hawkeye I liked. What was next? What other TV shows? Season 2 of Loki I thought was freaking awesome, actually. Never watched What If number 2. where are we here? What TV shows might have?
I think you're almost all caught up.
Is that it? I don't know if you count
the only thing I think you're missing is She-Hulk, because everyone knows that She-Hulk goes on the very bottom.
She-Hulk was shit.
The bestest ever, Echo.
Which I literally forgot existed until just now.
Oh, my head. Oh, I don't know. Just got a migraine here, like something was trying to burst out that had been buried deep.
Yeah, I literally forgot that.
By the way, you just reminded me of something that was worse than What If. Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Echo was.
I made it through one episode of Echo and said, nope, that's enough for me.
I watched it. It made absolutely no sense, and nothing of value was lost in used in the creation of it.
Since we're counting animated stuff with What If, I'll agree with Jose that X-Men 97 was the best D+.
Is that an actual MCU show though?
Well, I mean, it's
released by Marvel, and it's at least ostensibly setting up a mutants. Yeah. So
Umbrella now, it's not the Marvel Cinematic Universe per se. I mean,
that's what I was talking about. I haven't seen X-Men 97.
I mean, outside of that, the best MCU TV show for me was the Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, that is agreed by all here.
I think we're all in agreement that the two best ones that they've done TV-wise are Werewolf by Night and the Guardians Christmas special.
I love that special. I really do.
I can't say I didn't watch that. I mean, in terms of the series, I thought Hawkeye was decent to good, just because it actually had a decent ending. The supporting character stayed a supporting character for the most part, so Hawkeye, got his moments because it's his freaking show. And then steps down. WandaVision had a good first 6 episodes, and the final 2 episodes were so bad, and so clearly showed that Jack Schaefer, who by the way is the showrunner for this, has absolutely no clue what she's doing. Well, and of course later admitted it, in interviews afterwards, saying that she had no idea who Mephisto was and was surprised by all the fan stuff, which is again why I tell you, tamp down your expectations on this show. Whatever surface stuff you see is what it's going to be. Don't expect any clever twists. Don't expect any, so-and-so might pop up. No, because she doesn't care.
Here's where I disagree with both you and Anglantine on WandaVision. I thought the first 6 or 7 episodes were fine. It got good in episode 8, and episode 9 nuked all the potential from the air with it. Because I still maintain that only episode 8 is actually watchable or likable or enjoyable at all, which is why I was very grateful that Agatha got her own show, because in retrospect, she is not only the only reason to watch WandaVision, she may well be the best written magic user in the MCU full stop right now. Well, because she is the only magic user in all of the MCU, and yes, this includes Doctor Strange in the MCU, and Wong in the MCU, and the Ancient One in the MCU. Agatha Harkness in the MCU is the only magical practitioner I feel like I could actually talk shop with, and that is insufferable.
That's fine. Again, you're talking about a niche of a niche audience, but I mean, here's the thing too. Again, to keep in mind as you continue to watch this show, Jack Schaefer is the same one that put the words in of Monica talking to Wanda at the end of the show saying, nobody will know what sacrifices you made. Basically forcing us to say, oh yeah, no, even though Wanda was actually this terrible person, because she suffered a little bit of trauma, it's okay. She's not really a bad person. So I guarantee you that during the course of this show, they are going to try and convince you that Agatha is a good person. Or
well, they haven't fallen into that trap yet. The most I could reasonably see them doing is try to make her a sympathetic villain, because they haven't fallen into that trap yet. She makes everyone who sees her immediately just cringe back in a mix of terror and hatred. So they haven't done it yet.
In gigantic capital letters, you have no idea. However, I am not against showing up here Wednesday nights. We don't do I guess we do the covers. Well, I'm not against showing up here on Thursday nights, and we can do an after thing, do our little reviews of Wanda as it goes on. God knows, for the views, I should have gotten into that acolyte shit. Yeah, by all means, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to click like and share and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, anything. Oh, no echo. We forgot about that. Yep. It's not an MCU show. Fair enough. MCU Monica Rambeau is known for her terrible quotes. I'll tell you what surprised me as far as TV shows, in all honesty, was two of them, Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel. I don't like the character Ms. Marvel in the comics. She's never written interesting. That little girl that plays her, I forget her name.
Iman Vellani.
Okay, she is a comic book fan. She knows her shit, and from what I've seen anyway. And her joy of playing the character is infectious. You could tell she's having a blast when she plays the character, and it comes off on the screen. And I think
I was harder on Miss Marvel than you were. I'm glad you can enjoy it, but I'm more in LK's camp on that one.
But I just think she really made the show, and it was a lot of fun, and it was interesting. That show actually surprised me.
Yeah,
on how good it was.
To the point where Miss Marvel would have been a better show if they had just kept the focus on the family. When it got into all the nonsense with the clandestine
and all that
and everything.
Is she a djinn? Is she a mutant? Is she this? Is she that? Is she all of them?
The mutant thing was one line at the very last in the very last episode.
And the X-Men Sting music. Don't forget the X-Men Sting music.
Yeah, but once again, that was all at the very end of the last episode. I think what LK is more mentioning is like they went into the clandestine, they went back in time. You know. It really I think it's like it should be the friendly neighborhood Ms. Marvel. You know, she doesn't have to be uber powerful, join the Avengers. You know, she doesn't have to be flying around space with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. She can be low tier powered and fight high school villains and fight neighborhood villains and such. She doesn't have to go. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to young characters like that, I kind of prefer it. Because otherwise it really doesn't make sense. But I've only got that opinion as I get older. So.
Well, and that would have also made sense too, especially if you read the first volume and two of her comic book.
I did. It's actually pretty good.
She basically is kind of like your friendly neighborhood hero.
It's only when they bring in other heroes that Ms. Marvel starts.
Yeah, I'll just throw out this last thing. There was one cute little clever casting thing that I did like in Agatha, and that was, I don't know if you picked up on who played the librarian next door neighbor with the husband and kid.
Yeah, who was that?
That's Emma Caulfield. If you were a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she played the witch that, you know, demon witch that, you know, then loses her powers, falls for Xander.
Anya. Anya Vengeance Demon.
Yeah, Anya. Yeah. So I saw that and I thought, okay, that's clever. That's about where the cleverness stops.
Speaking of that, Englentine, did you miss in the first scene when Agatha's on the crime scene? She asks if the perp is dead, and the guy's response was, "She's really most sincerely dead." A little bit of Wizard of Oz reference there.
Yes. Okay, so. Let me get some chat here, and then we'll call it. I haven't seen Ms. Marvel, but I doubt it did better than Stargirl. That show was actually great. Yes, I agree with you. Awesome. Stargirl was better than Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel is still good. But Stargirl, first, second, and third season, top notch.
Stargirl was the blueprint for how you do a network level superhero style show.
It really was. And considering
it was fantastic.
They're all teenagers and they all operate in the same small town. That is what really kicks it. Let's see. Kitty from 70 Show was funny. Yeah. And I like her as a character. I'm glad they brought her along. And we were talking earlier about the fact that her gardening may be low level earth magic. And I think Agatha knew this. And that's why she
went, I need somebody. I'm not dealing with that Blackheart bitch. You'll do, kind of.
But there you go. All righty, kids. Thanks for hanging out. I would not mind doing this every Thursday after until the show is over. And I like we have different temperaments seeing movies. So, you know, this time around though, Dalton, like I said, you're the Captain Kirk. You're the Captain Kirk. He's the Mr. Spock, and I'm the Bones McCoy. Go figure. All righty. That being said, kids,
it's a strange time to be alive, folks.
Yeah, you kids have I know, right? This was a great line. Am I supposed to know the words to this song? All righty, kids. Thanks for hanging out with us as always. Don't forget tomorrow night at 10:30, we're going to be doing the Marvel family. We're going to be looking at some covers there, and earlier than that, I'm going to be doing an unboxing of Saturday's auction. The whole thing, everything's new, so I'll do that. And at some point in time, Dalton, I want to get together and just review movies because I've been seeing a lot recently.
Speaking of shows, though, have you finished Hazbin Hotel yet?
No, I haven't been able to make the leap back into it. One day I will, sir, and we'll talk about it. But I just haven't been able to make that leap.
You might as well just wait until season 2 comes out and binge the whole thing then.
That might be a way to do it. So yeah, tonight we saw Never Let Go. I want to review the movies. We haven't even talked about Am I Racist? Have you seen this yet, LK?
Not yet. I'm thinking I might try and see it this weekend if I can. Or
short review. One of the funniest freaking things I've seen in a long damn time.
That's what I've heard from a lot of people.
I don't care I don't care what your politics are. This thing's funny. All righty, kids. Once again, thank you very much for hanging out. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification, and set it for all on your cell phones. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. Helps keep the lights on. Thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.